welcome to Novel Hour, or a live show that we host here every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Time. We are live. Last week you got the replay because, I went on a little holiday, but we're back live and we're super excited to talk to you about Pride books, new releases, what we're watching, news, gossip, and more. But I want you to mark your calendar because we have some exciting lives coming up soon. We are going to be sharing some great audiobook recommendations that's coming up. Then we're going to get into some Caribbean books, so Caribbean authors, Caribbean stories. We're going to get into beach reads and lots more. So you can see the calendar, mark your calendars, and join us every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern. We have lots to talk about. So we're going to jump into the Pride Book Month recommendations. I am going to let Francesca go first and kick myself off.
Okay.
It's been a day, everyone. So Francesca's going to share her Pride Month recommendations, and then we'll get into some more books and new releases soon.
So I'm excited today to talk about fantasy and paranormal recommendations, and didn't plan it, but they're all male gay romances. So the first one is an urban fantasy. It's one of my absolute favorite series. In the first book in that series is A Fairy of Bones and Gold by Haley Turner. So this one is very heavy on the action, heavy on the angst as well. It is so good. And basically our main character, Patrick, he is a special agent with lots of trauma. He is haunted basically by a supernatural war that he barely survived, and it's left him with some stuff to deal with. And he's got the gods the series does deal a lot with mythology and different kinds of gods, and he has a soul debt to the gods, and people are now turning up dead. And basically he's like an FBI, think of an FBI agent, and he is now sent in to investigate what's happening with these people turning up dead and kind of help unravel the whole situation. And there he meets this werewolf who is supposed to be his enemy. Things are never so simple. There's fate, of course, fated mate situation, and lots of found family in this, lots of danger. The mythology in this series is amazing. Every single book deals with a different type of mythology, which is really fun. And it does have the fated mate trope, but also the kind of government agencies. There's cult in some of them. It's just such a good series. Highly recommend. And in fact, Haley Turner also has another series that I do recommend as well, which is more of a fantasy series. This one is more urban fantasy, but she also has a fantasy series, which I really also recommend. Now, the second book is more of the cozy side. So this is A Spell for Heart Sickness by Alistair Reeves. And it's not necessarily like a full cozy, like low stakes, because the stakes are quite high, but it has a cozy fantasy vibe to it, if that makes sense. So a little bit higher stakes, but still has the vibe. So we have our main character, Briar, who is a magical fashion student, and he is wasting away because of a curse. And basically he's dying. The curse is like a chronic illness, and he's dying. And there's a prophecy that points him to go to this remote town, and his soulmate is going to be there. And once he finds his soulmate, he's going to be cured, because that person is the one that's going to help him unravel that curse. So he's shipped off to this gloomy little town to find said soulmate. And he is also supposed to be there to open a business, or like that it's part of his magical training or whatever. So he opens a store to sell his fashion. And when he gets there, he actually meets two different magical men, and he can't figure out which one is his soulmate. So that is part of the storyline, is figuring out which one is his soulmate. And that is like, the stakes are high, because him finding the right one will mean being cured from the curse. So in this town, there's also a magical forest that is very eerie and creepy and is doing crazy things to the town. The place where he's staying has a ghost. So there's a bit of a investigation of what really happened to this ghost, because that is also tied to the mystery of the town. And our two love interests couldn't be more different. One is a kind of like a celebrity, also fashion designer, magical fashion designer. And the other one is very grumpy recluse, the town sheriff. So really love this one. I really love the main character in this one as well. And I'm really looking forward to the second book, which I think is coming out this month, if I'm not mistaken. So the third one is Hell and High Water by Charlie Cochet. Now, this one is more of a paranormal romance. It does have a military vibe, and it is a full series as well. I consider it paranormal romance. You could maybe also say a bit of urban fantasy, but I lean more on the paranormal romance. This is like a cop show, but except just regular cops, they're shifters. So there's lots of banter, lots of tension. Our main character in this one, Dex, is bisexual, and he just lost his job and boyfriend all in one thing, and he's thrown into this paranormal task force, and he immediately gets partnered with Sloan, who is a Jaguar shifter. And hates him on sight. So enemies to lovers, but they are also obviously soulmates. So they have to solve this murder together and with the whole task force. So within the task force itself, it's got a very found family vibe, which I absolutely love. But we do have that enemies to lovers situation. They're reluctant partners. Good grumpy situation here as well. And I personally really love the shifter squad situation happening with the cops. So I absolutely love the series. Cannot recommend it enough. And then I'm going to close things out with a fantasy standalone, and it's A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. So this one is perfect if you want like a slow, simmering court politics fantasy romance. We have Kadu, who is a soft-spoken prince, and he gets assigned a new bodyguard after a scandal threatens his reputation. And Evermer is like all rules, and they don't get along, of course, until they start to get along. So this one has a bit of financial conspiracy, which starts to unfold, and the two of them have to work together and trust each other basically with their lives. And that loyalty, they have to work together to solve the whole thing. So lots of court intrigue, bodyguard romance, slow burn romance, the magic, of course. And it's got a lot of like softness to it, which I absolutely appreciated and really loved. And it's a standalone. So it's just read one and you're done. So those are my recommendations. I always enjoy really reading fantasy romance, queer fantasy romance. So I have more on the blog too. So you can check those out too.
Yes, be sure to check the link in the video's description. I'm always excited for queer romance fantasy as well. And now I'm going to share some queer romance. Okay, we're going to share some new releases. So these are new books that if you haven't read them already, I'm really excited to share them with you because, hey, it's Pride Month. We should be smiling. We should be blushing, but we also should be cheering for love. So the first book I want to share with you is a historical romance. It's A Sure Thing by Joanna Lowell. This one is a very delightful queer Victorian love story. So we have a trans hero and we see the botanist who captures his heart. This is all set by the British seaside. So I love a gorgeous Victorian seaside setting. So if you're into that, this one is for you. We also have lots of bicycle racing, sailing, secret gardens, illustrating, and just lots of cute fun things. So it's a very soft, warm romance that I feel will wrap you in the sunshine. So we have one of our main characters who has reinvented himself in Cornwall after leaving a life behind that just didn't fit. And then we have this botanist who is from New York, who is a bit more brash, has a lot going on, but decides to commission Kit to illustrate British seaweeds. So they strike a deal. He'll help her prove to the cycling club, which at the time was men only, that women belong on bicycles on two wheels, and she'll help him too. So this one is very charming, low stakes adventure, but of course a trans hero who owns his joy. If you're looking for Victorian romance, that one is a great one. Then I want to get into The Next Chapter by Camille Kellogg. Now this one it gives Notting Hill vibes. So think of it like as a Notting Hill retelling-ish, but of course set in the West Village. So we have a former child actress who meets a bookseller in the West Village, and we see sparks flying between them. So our former child star has a huge platform, lots of followers, who also needs some publicity and a publicity reboot, more specifically as a queer icon. Then we have a bookseller who hates change, wants nothing to do with it. So even though celebrities like game for a reboot and rebranding and publicity, the bookseller wants nothing to do with it. The bookseller also hasn't dated in a while. But anyway, they have a meet cute situation going on, and they feel like them getting together would be the perfect kind of PR stunt and move for each other. But of course, even when you fake date and it's a romance, feelings have a way of sneaking in. It also doesn't help that the headlines are also promoting this relationship anyway. So this is a media whirlwind kind of thing. And we see both of them having to decide, hey, is this genuine? Is this staged? And what are we going to do moving forward? So expect witty banter in this one, great tension, crushes, and just your carefully crafted plans just falling to the side. And the last one I want to share with you is a new book by Susie Dumond. It's Bed and Breakup. Now, in this one, we have a power couple. And the whole bed and breakup thing is because they had a bed and breakfast business that they had running. It's very cozy, art-filled, and all the things. However, their marriage and their dreams of running this establishment crumbles. It falls apart. But we see them coming back together 7 years later. They return, not necessarily in a reuniting kind of way. It's more of, I have something to prove to the other. So one is trying to be an up-and-coming artist. The other one is a celebrity chef working in that world. So we see them coming back to their home turf-ish. Of course, there's lots of pranks. They're also forced now to renovate the inn and get it sold. And of course, it's like coming back together in a way, coming back to the scene of the crime. It feels, obviously, feelings are getting reignited as we're working together on this project. All the memories are coming to the surface, that kind of thing. So this is a second chance romance, great food scenes, I feel, always chosen family vibes. I feel Susie Dumond has that one thread through all her work so far, is that chosen family. And I think you'll be cheering for both of these characters. So those are my queer romance books. They're all new books. So if you're looking for something new and fresh to add to your reading list, I think these books are good. What do you think, Fran?
I have that Bed and Breakup already on my TBR, so I'm excited to read it.
Yes, I just read Susie Dumond. She's like an auto buy, auto read. Not everything is perfect, but I know what I'm getting, especially chosen family themes. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. Share your queer recommendations, any books you've been reading for Pride Month, regardless of the representation. We'd love to get some recommendations in the comments. So be sure to share. Replay crew, we'd love to hear from you as well. So share them in the comments. All right. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Novel Hour. This is our live show. We host every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern. We always have a theme. This month, it was Pride Month books. So we share those book recommendations. We're going to get into what we're watching. We're also going to share some new releases for this week that we think are worth adding to your reading list, or at least on the calendar and on our radar. Maybe you'll find them interesting. We're also going to get into some news, bookish news, but we also have some gossip too. Be sure to hang around, share your thoughts in the comments as we go. But right now, we're going to get into what we are watching. So last week, I had nothing on my what I am watching list, which is really rare because I love watching things as well as reading. And I watched, and I want to talk to you all about The Life of Chuck. I have a review up on my channel, so there's a link in the video's description if you've watched this, but also if you've read the Stephen King story. I actually have the book here. So the story, The Life of Chuck, can be found in the Stephen King collection if it bleeds. I actually think I have it bookmarked. Yeah. So anyways, I love the story. I really love the story, and I felt it really translated on screen well. The only thing I will say to you that is not a spoiler, no, it's not a spoiler, is that this is the most faithful Stephen King adaptation I've seen, period.
Wow.
Like, this is to the book in a way where I was like, okay, wow. Now, did the movie person add some themes? Absolutely did. Add some new elements. I think it enhanced the story. We can debate it in my review video. Again, I did that one already. But just in case you're not familiar with The Life of Chuck, essentially, it is Stephen King's version of Warm and Fuzzy, but of course it has dark undercurrents. We see the world ending, but we also see a man dying, aka The Life of Chuck. I don't want to say more than it is a reverse chronology storytelling. So we start at the end. It's in 3 acts. We start with the world ending, okay? We also start with Chuck dying. Then we get to the middle part when he's in his prime and what is happening in the world at the time and how he is doing. Then we go back to the beginning of his childhood. And if Stephen King and children and car accidents and things, again, there's certain hallmarks with this man that you're going to see coming through. So we go back to part 1. So we do, it's act 3, act 2, and act 1. He has it divided in that way. And again, we start at the end and we go to the beginning. But here's the thing. The starting from the end and moving towards the beginning is not a gimmick. You know how sometimes it's like authors will play with time travel in a way? This is not a play. This is like essential to the whole story. I've never seen a story hang on the reverse timeline chronology so heavy. It's like you're putting a puzzle together but every piece falls into place. It's really hard to talk about if you haven't watched it, but I'll read the story without spoilers. Because the one thing you're going to want to talk about with folks after the fact is the spoilers. Did you see this? Did you catch the Easter eggs? And if you've been watching the live or the replays, because we love our replay crew, and I share something and I would often say, yeah, I'm more nice to like films and stories and stuff. My husband isn't. And I always tell you, if I tell you my husband said, run, don't walk, the man is telling you, run, don't walk. Okay. And I don't think I've said that all year with all the stuff I've been saying. He'll be like, oh, this is okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. This one is run. So he is saying, go watch it in the cinema. And then when it comes back on streaming, watch it. Now, if life is lifing and you can't go to the cinema, you're going to have to watch it 2 times. You have to watch it 2 times. And I'm going to read the story again. And then I'm going to watch it again because, yeah, it really blew my mind. It was this close to perfect. It's not a perfect thing, but it's close to being a blockbuster. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it. But anyway, shameless plug, I have my explainer video over on my channel. You can tune in. But Fran, what have you been watching?
So I have basically been deep diving the Animal Kingdom TV series that I talked about last week. So I'm already finishing season 4. There's only 6. Sad. But after I talked to you last, I kept watching it. So that was like somewhere in the middle of me being on season 1. And I kept thinking, there is something about this series that is so familiar to me. And I'm watching this with my husband, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on, and I was like, that's what it is. And I turned to my husband and I said, this is Sons of Anarchy. And he looks at me and he's, yeah, I can see that. And then the day after I went online and apparently it's been a thing.
Okay.
The Reddit forums have been seeing the comparison, which I mean, I'm like, I have a whole post about my thoughts on that on Mysterylandia, so you can go and check that out.
Yes.
But it is just so fun because where the other one is biker and like a little bit more gang and selling arms and things like that, this one is about thieves. So they're always doing some kind of stealing, but it's just so, the family dynamic, toxic family manipulation, like all of those things. It is so much like the other one that I think that if you like Sons of Anarchy, you'd really enjoy this one. There's just more surfing to make it a little bit lighter, but it's really the same thing, which I can really appreciate because I love that show. So I was like, okay, this is good. I can hang with this. There's always some horrendous thing happening, lots of gore, lots of killing.
These people.
It is good. There's lots of drama, lots of like horrible things that families doing to each other.
Oh my gosh.
But it's messy and I'm really enjoying it. So
I expect a full
sad when it's over.
See, I know you're going to be sad, but I expect a full report. Folks watching, don't we expect a full report next week? Like when she wraps this up, because I want to know where this is going. But yeah, Animal Kingdom, everyone. Let us know your thoughts in the comments if you're watching or have watched Animal Kingdom, if you've read Stephen King's The Life of Chuck, if you're planning to watch it, or wait till it hits streaming. It doesn't matter. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But we also want to hear from you. What are you watching right now? Or is there something you're looking forward to watching? Like it hasn't hit yet, but you're looking forward to it? Yeah, share your thoughts in the comments. Okay, we're going to jump into our new releases. So we have some new releases to share with you this week. So we are covering new releases for the week of June 12th through to the 21st. We have 5 fresh new releases each. I think you're going to want to grab some of these books. Hang tight. Let's get into it. I'm going to go first. And the first one I'm going to share with you is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. In this one, we have a songwriter who's lost her muse. And then we see a former boy band, Bad Boy, who might just be the spark that she needs. She hasn't penned a lyric in a really long time. She's also heartbroken to watch her family's business, which is tied to music, also go under. She has some family things going on. There's lots of things, but then she hears this guy's voice in her head. And then when she looks, okay, yep. And they end up linked in a magically kind of way. So there's a little bit of magic in this one as well. But anyway, it's funny. You see the heartache of 2 people coming together, finding inspiration in each other when they least expect it. So that's your romance. However, we have a mystery and a thriller. This one is definitely heavy on the mystery, but I absolutely love it. It's Murder Takes a Vacation by Laura Lippman. I love Laura Lippman. I will, again, author by author, read author for me. Does her books always hit? No. But again, we don't abandon our authors when they don't hit. But I'm happy to report this is a hit, okay? This one hit. So in Murder Takes a Vacation, we meet a woman who won the lottery, okay? A ticket too that she wasn't even paying attention to. But anyway, her dreams are opening up. She gets this cruise where she goes through France and she ends up in a real life whodunit. I know you're thinking this sounds familiar. She's on a cruise. Of course, it's going to give Agatha Christie vibes because again, Agatha Christie is queen, icon, legend. We are humbled in Agatha's presence, but Laura Lippman did a really great job with this. So we see this widow treating herself. She has a friend there along the way. Forgot to mention that. There's also someone who's charming over dinner time, but then drops dead the next day. So we see them going down that rabbit hole. You're the last person to have dinner with him and that kinds of thing. So it gives Murder on the Orient Express vibes, that locked room mystery. There is a cameo from a PI from previous books as well. It's just witty, fun, globe-trotting, all the things. Yes, Murder Takes a Vacation. I'm coming at you with a wild ball because this one it's called How to Dodge a Cannonball by Denon Dale. I read this one. It is special. It's for the literary folks who love a bit of history. And we're going to take a serious matter, but we're going to make it funny. It is focusing on the Civil War. And I know when you think Civil War, you're thinking dark. But in this one, the Civil War becomes hilarious. So we meet some people, teenagers, who are very idealistic, as most folks are when they're young. They enlist, then re-enlist, trying to pin down exactly what America really means, what patriotism really means. He starts off as a Union flag twirler, finds himself in the Confederate cavalry. Listen, bouncing all over the place. And then even sneaks into a Union regiment, claiming he's something that he's not, so they can let him stay. He squares off with all kinds of people, okay? Arms dealer, people from history, like real history and myth. We see him hashing along the way. It's very interesting. It delivers laugh out loud moments, but at the same time, surprisingly profound moments too on identity, loyalty, and everything about the nation. Look, I know the world is heavy right now, but this is history you need in a funny way. Again, funny, highly recommend. Another one I want to share with you is Hazel Says No. I hope this book becomes a big book this summer because it is a coming of age story that blew me away. It's a coming of age story like none other. It's very powerful, very empowering. We have a young girl who, her and her family moved to this new small town. She's going to school, and her high school principal propositions her. That's the best way I can say it without saying words on YouTube that will get me kicked off, okay? This man propositions her on day one, saying he chooses one student every year and she is it.
Oh.
It is disgusting in that way, but our main character, Hazel, first of all, she's very ick by it, but she refuses, flat out on her face. She does not crumble to pressure. And it obviously has changed her life forever in a different way, because now she is the center of a whole bunch of rumors in this small town. And to give you context, her family left Brooklyn and went to a small town in Maine. We love Maine, but not this man and the whole thing. I love the Maine setting, but the man is trash. So anyway, so now she's the center of rumors, her family as well. And because they're outsiders coming into this small town, so there's rumors, investigations, gut-wrenching mockery, just everything. She is a beacon of courage. Okay, so just understand that is the positive portion of this. However, it's seeing how she deals with it in this small town and how her family deals with it, and then how the community. So you're reading to see if the community is going to come around them, if her family can hold it together and stuff like that. But there is joy, there is family bonds. It reminds us of our strength. And again, we love Hazel. We are Team Hazel here. And the last book is Ecstasy by Ivy Pechoda. I love Ivy Pechoda, okay? This wasn't my favorite, but it might be for some people. This is a Greek tragedy meets Gothic horror. It's set on a stunning sunset Greek island and all the things. We see our main character who's inherited a luxury villa on this island after her husband's death. But there's a controlling son in the mix. There's children, wife, and all the things. It's a lot going on, but it leads into ancient gods coming in the mix, women on the island and the sand, and you just find yourself drawn into this whole thing. There is some social critique, sharp critique, and just the roles women are willing to play. Yeah, that's Ivy's latest and my 5 releases. Francesca, what do you have?
So I'm going to start with something fun. The first one that I have is I Think I'm in Love with an Alien by Ana Aguirre. So this one is about a lonely alien who is stranded on Earth, and the tech broke down, whatever. So he's supposed to be laying low, and what does he do? He joins an online fandom community. And he gets invited to SpaceCon. So naturally, bit of cosplay. And he had met in the online community our heroine, Jeanette, who is the literal queen of all the nerdy alien merch. And she's obsessed with aliens. And basically, he was her online crush, and they get to meet at SpaceCon. And she has no idea he's an alien, like a real alien. So it's a campy, cinnamon roll alien hero, nerdy heroine, cosplay, which, I mean, all the good stuff. And how can you say no to that cover? So
can't say no, because I'm already like,
The next one is Ride the Wave by Catherine Riley. This is a contemporary romance, especially for the fans of Icebreaker. It is set in Portugal. The hero is a retired surfer, the golden boy of surf, and the heroine is a sports journalist. She's very ambitious, and she is working for his mother, who owns a magazine, and she has to go there to do an interview with him in Portugal. So they're the forced proximity, they're in the same house, all of that. And it's a forbidden romance. She's not supposed to get involved, but you also get the coastal Europe setting and all that. So it's a perfect beach read, I think. And yes, usually Catherine Riley is spicy. That's going to be a good one. Then I have Coming in Hot by Josie Juniper. So this one is the F1 of the bunch. So if you're into sports romance, like actively in the sport, our hero is not a driver, which I was pleased with because that's usually what you get. He's more of the owner of the team kind of situation. So he's the top dog. Yes. He's Austrian, and our heroine is a journalist. And she's starting to get into the business because she was doing something else. And they start dating. They actually meet before they know who they are, and they have a one-night stand. And then they find out who they are, and they're like, oh shit, we should be doing that. So then they're trying to figure out how to have a relationship, but she's supposed to be digging stuff into what's going on with the sport and trying to get some kind of a big story. And he is being very quiet because he knows, obviously he's got all the experience with dealing with journalists, and he can't open up to her. No. He also is dealing still with the grief of losing his wife. So the book does deal with some of the grief of the loss, and his wife was sick and all of that. So there's a lot that he's dealing with, how to open up, because he thought he would never be in a relationship again. So it's a cute story. I was expecting a little bit more from it, but it's still a cutesy story, forbidden workplace romance in a way. So I would still recommend it. Then we have Someone Knows by Vi Keelan. So this one is for the thriller mystery lovers. Elizabeth is a professor, but back in high school, her and her best friend were involved in something a little murdery, and they thought that no one knows, and now apparently someone does. So a student submits a story for her class, and it's pretty much textbook what had happened back then, and she has to go back to her hometown to find out how does someone know what's going on? The revenge plot story here, dual timelines, which is really fun. And the last one is a historical romance. It's To Catch a Lord by Emma Orchard. This is a fake relationship Regency romance, which I can't say that I've read a ton of those.
Okay.
So Amelia is so her family has a certain reputation, and she has all these creepy men that are always coming up to her because they feel like she's a little bit loose, but mostly because of her family's reputation. So she wants to put an end to that, and she proposes to Lord Thorne that they have a fake engagement. Now, he also has his own issues with society because it was rumored and it was real that he was in love with his brother's wife, and his brother died. And so now the widow is living in the family house. He's there and he's got the title. And so there's all these rumors that he's going to end up with her. And of course, that's not seen well. And technically, he doesn't want that. So as much as he's got his sister-in-law throwing herself at him, he's, no, that's not what I want. So it works out in his favor also to have some kind of a fake engagement, because he's, I can put an end to the rumors and I can also get rid of my sister.
My sister-in-law.
So yeah, it was interesting because I'm not used to reading historical romance with fake dating, but it was a different take. It is a slow burn. Yeah, lots of scandal in this one. So it was fun.
I am team scandal, so sign me up.
Me too.
Yes. So some exciting new releases. Let us know in the comments which ones you will be adding to your reading list. I know I will be adding some, but also if there's some books we didn't cover today as well, share them in the comments so we can share the new releases. Love. All right, so if you're just joining us, welcome to our live show. We host here every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern time. We shared some books for Pride Month. That was our theme for the week, because every week we have a theme. We also got into some new releases as well. We also shared what we're watching, okay? Because we don't just read books, we watch things on television too. Now we're gonna get into the news. We're going to get into some gossip as well. I think the first thing that I do want to share is the announcement that Everand has acquired the online book club platform Fable. Now, the screenshot you're seeing on screen is from Everand directly. They're making the announcement. But personally, I got the news straight from Publishers Weekly. So that is where my reporting is coming from today. So you can check out the video's description for links on what is going on. So just in case you're not familiar and you're like, what is going on? Everand is an online ebook and audiobook subscription service. It is a subsidiary of Scribd. Some of you might be familiar with Scribd. And they have acquired Fable. Now, you might not know what Fable is either, and that is fine. Fable is a social reading and book club app. Folks would just go online, sign up on Fable. They can track some of their reading to some degree, sign up to book clubs, discuss books, and all that good stuff. Now, according to Publishers Weekly, all Fable employees will join Scribd, okay, with the CEO of Scribd taking over as Fable CEO, and Fable's founder is set to transition into a more advisory role. So it goes on to talk about the whole different things. Again, you can click the link in the video's description, but Fable has a lot of users. They host a lot of book clubs on the apps. A lot of big book talk influencers they share also run book clubs over there as well. And the company also has an online bookstore that they donate 20% to the World Literacy Foundation and lots of other stuff. And they're saying Fable isn't afraid to experiment. They're very excited for obviously this acquisition and this collaboration. They do say they will maintain separate business models. They will operate independently for the time being, though they do say collaborations also will occur. Now, if you're thinking about Fable, you might also say, I heard some really crazy stuff about Fable. Yes, there was discourse online about some very offensive and racially insensitive content that was created for users. They did mention it was AI powered when it was sharing your end of your year reading summary. So there was lots of things happening during that time as well. They addressed it. They gave their apology. They removed the AI feature and the forum to address the issue. But anyways, that's a whole mouthful. But long story short is the company Everand, who also runs Scribd, has acquired Fable. Fran, what are your thoughts?
I have mixed feelings about this, because I already have mixed feelings about Scribd/Everand, because I want to say, and I can't remember dates right now, but I want to say not that long ago, they were bought by some kind of investor or some big guy. And I think a tech guy, actually. And they recently changed also the pricing of the subscription service, because I've had my Scribd subscription service for years, and I used to read a ton. And they had its good and its bad, where there was no rhyme or reason for how you would get locked out of listening to certain audiobooks, but then it would tell you, okay, after this date you can listen to that, but you can listen to something else. Now, the good thing about that service before is that it was like Kindle Unlimited for, in my opinion, I was using it for audiobooks, but you could also get ebooks, and they have other things on the platform. But basically, it was like a Kindle Unlimited subscription. You could borrow things and have unlimited supply of that. And they recently, with the new owner, changed that to where you're basically unlocking, like you're buying, your subscription buys you points, let's say,
Okay.
and you're using that to unlock titles. So they tell you that it's an unlimited subscription, meaning like you can have access to a whole bunch of their database. Most of the books that you want to read are not on that. And they're all things you have to unlock. So your 1 credit that you're getting will unlock 1 book or 2 books, depending what you pay, but then you don't own that title. You're borrowing that title for that amount of money, which is the same amount of money that you would pay Audible or Libro for a credit, but there you own the book.
So what is
So
the
here
incentive?
you're paying that kind of money to unlock a rental, and then you got to return that.
So what is the real incentive?
I have no idea, but so I've seen so many people that were loyal Scribd, Everand, whatever subscribers who have left because what's the point? They tell you that there is a huge library of things that you can access for free in the same way, but I have yet to find a book that it's not in the unlock.
Yeah.
And I'm talking even older titles, not just like new releases. I get it for the new releases. Like I wouldn't mind if I have access to a whole bunch of backlist things, and then for new releases, I have to unlock it. But at the same time, if I have to unlock it for the same amount of money that I would pay to buy it, I'm going to go buy it.
I'm going to go buy it. I see, I'm not a Scribd user, so I don't have any experience, which is why I'm not chiming in, folks. But if I'm paying the same amount of money to rent something that I can buy, I'm just going to buy.
I'm just going to go buy it. So that's where my concern comes in, because I feel like this new owner at Everand, which is the one that is going to be like heading both now, I don't think he understands the community. And I think he's coming in with that tech bro mentality of like how I'm going to get the most money. So I don't know where that's going to fit in with incorporating Fable. And I also don't know how you would collaborate the 2 platforms, because to me, like they're 2 completely different things.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going with that merger.
Yeah, it's a very interesting merger. We will be paying attention. I think I am going to go down the rabbit hole of who is the CEO behind Everand, who owns majority stake. Because if you're not a book person and you don't understand the community, yeah, it's going to be a rough and wild ride. It might also be an expensive mistake. I don't know how much it was acquired for, but all I would say is, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Yeah. But if you have any opinions, share them in the comments with us. We'd love to hear from you. Replay crew, let us know your thoughts on the fact that Everand has acquired Fable. They've put out their statement. They've put out several statements across different presses. And again, there are links right now in the video's description, so you can click, read more, and tell us your thoughts. Okay, we have a busy news week. Okay, it is a busy news week. And the next topic that we're going to get into is BookCon is back. Now, again, BookCon advertised on their platform. So people who have been on BookCon, Book Expo, Comic-Con, just anything by Read Pop, you probably have received an email to say, yes, the rumors are true. BookCon is back. They also did a presser with Publishers Weekly. I got an email through them as well to say, yep, the rumors are true. BookCon will return in 2026. So 5 years after BookCon and Book Expo by Read Pop announced that, hey, we are retiring this, we are now getting news that they are reviving it and BookCon is back. The new iteration is slated for April 18th through 19th, 2026. I've included links in the video's description so you can read more directly from the BookCon website, but you can also read the presser from Publishers Weekly. It also said that it will be returning to its former home in New York City's Javits Center. So the person who headed up the earlier iteration of BookCon as well as Book Expo is serving as an event director of the new show. Now, the one thing I noticed that they said in the presser everywhere that I've read about this is that the revived event will bear no resemblance to Book Expo. Now, Book Expo, which even Francesca had to educate me on this earlier, Book Expo is the industry trade show. The BookCon team and the BookCon event that we're going to have in 2026, this is what they said, and I quote, is focused wholly on delivering a consumer event. They also go on to then mention at the end of the quote saying that it will be catering to its original audience, which is a younger genre readers. They said the upcoming BookCon will also feature book signings, panel discussions, book club meetups, sprayed edges workshops, book swaps, and a fantasy ball, and lots more. So there's, again, link in the video's description. You can sign up to their email newsletter, so you'll be the first to know all the details. But right now they're announcing it. They want to get you excited to say, again, BookCon is back. I heard about it from them directly through Publishers Weekly, through our friends DMing us, all the things. Fran, how are you feeling that BookCon is back? I know you have experience attending the event. Many folks attended before 2020, which is when they put it on pause. But now that you hear they're coming back. How do you feel about it coming back in 2026? They're coming back to the Javits. But I found it interesting. And as someone who's been to this event, I found it very interesting, them stressing how basically, listen, Book Expo, that is one thing. We're not doing that again. We're staying far from that. They're really focusing on the consumer side of it, because that was my biggest takeaway.
I actually think that it's really good news because, first of all, there's a lot of book signings right now. Yes, there's also a lot of crappy book signings and a lot of people that don't know how to run events. So, with all that being said, I think there is a need for a big event that can pull also the big name authors, that is able to coordinate the kind of draw that's going to bring in, and to be able to pay for a location like the Javits Center where you can have something really massive and really immersive. So I think the need was there. I think that after 2020, because so many signings and things started popping up, they felt like maybe that was taking away from what they were doing before, which I think that's probably why they were pulling back. Also costs.
That's what I was going to say. Cost, I heard, was the biggest thing, because at the time in 2020, when they did have an event planned, because of the pandemic, they were unable to have in-person events. And because, of course, publishers and advertisers and everyone was pulling the funding, and no one wanted to do anything in 20, because again, we just couldn't. It was a time of a great unknown. They didn't have the funds to keep that segment of the business alive until we could get back outside.
Yeah. And I think that they probably didn't bring it back sooner because they felt maybe these signings are enough. But I feel especially this year, there's been so much drama and mess around book signings that it's proven that we do need one solid event, at least at a bare minimum, where readers can go and they know that they're going to get a decent experience. Now, that being said, I hope that they learn from all the mistakes of BookCons past. And because it was something for readers, the pricing was accessible. There were a lot of people inside that Javits Center. And I think that you can have all the good intentions, but you also need to be able to plan properly. Now, again, I have also gone to Comic-Con at the same Javits Center by the same people, and that is run much better. So if they could take the organization that they have for Comic-Con and then translate that into how this BookCon is going to be, I think you're going to be golden. And I think it's going to be a great experience. And I hope that it's a more immersive experience where, like, you have the Comic-Cons, you have the cosplay, you can go into panels, you can learn things, you can see the artists. Because right now with books, you have a lot of illustrators, you have a lot of other things that are not just the authors in the books. So I think that if they make it a very immersive experience for the readers, I think this could be really big. And if they do well in 2026, I think this could be something that's really exciting for people to go every year. I will give them a shot and I will go to it.
Listen, Francesca said she's going. And my only thing is, if she's going, I'm going. I'm not going without her. I'm also just going to add in real quick. I do think it's necessary for us to have an event. And again, no offense to folks. Okay, we are content creators. We're out here trying to run a little small business too. I like the fact that these are professional event planners. This is what they do. This is their business. You also gave a positive feeling for Comic-Con. And I also found it very interesting because they also emailed their Comic-Con folks too and say, oh, hey, we are bringing this back and we're bringing it back in this kind of way. So I think they're going to lean in on comic and the experiences that Comic-Con focuses on and bring it to BookCon. And by them also emphasizing, we want nothing to do with Book Expo. I think they're realizing if you make it more about the readers and less about the industry, because there are enough other industry events out there. If we remove the industry section and make it all about the reader experience and focusing on the reader experience, then I think they'll do a good job. And let me just tentatively say, we hope we will see you at BookCon in 2026. So mark your calendars, folks, because they're coming back and it's going to be April 18th through to the 19th, 2026. Let us know your thoughts and comments if you're planning to go. If you're like, yes, I'm already there. Okay, the tickets are purchased, even though they're not on sale yet, but you know what I'm saying. If you know that you're going to be there, let us know your thoughts and comments. How do you feel about it? If not, we also want to hear from you too. So share your thoughts in the comments. Replay crew, we want to hear from you as well. So share your thoughts. Okay, like I said, busy news week. We're going to really fly through the rest of the stuff. Lots of things happening. Now we're getting into the gossipy territory. We gave you news. That was facts. Now we're getting heavy into the feelings. And the first thing I want to talk about is Ali Hazelwood, okay? I really want to talk about Ali Hazelwood because I don't understand what is wrong with the internet. What did you say the other day, Francesca? These people need home training.
Yeah.
Was that what we were saying?
Yeah, they need house training,
book people need home training. So just in case you haven't heard, Ali Hazelwood has deactivated her social media accounts, okay, specifically Instagram, I think Threads and all the things. Ali is off social media. She has left, and it is because of people online who have zero house training, okay? Zero house training. Now, I will admit the things with Ali have been piling up. People had things to say when she released her book, Deep End?
Deep End.
Yeah, people had thoughts when she released Deep End. People had thoughts when she canceled her European tour. And I'm just going to go on a limb and say, I understand why she did it.
Yep.
Okay.
Same.
I am not leaving. Okay. Because it is a scary world out there. And unless you've been through it yourself, okay. You know what? Let me just say, unless you've been held at an airport, I have. Multiple times. Unless you've had your humanity and your reasoning questioned, okay, you don't understand. You don't understand what it's like when you have to go to interview after interview every year, every 2 years, depending whatever your time is, and you have to justify your humanity to these people in order for you to live and stay and work in the US. You don't understand. And even after you get your papers and you feel like, oh, I have a green card, or oh, I'm a US citizen, if you still don't understand, okay, how you're treated when you're coming back in, if you don't understand what it's like to be separated from your family because one person is a citizen and another person is not, and you have kids over here and all over the place, you don't understand why this woman chose not to go back home. I told my mother I ain't coming anywhere unless legit someone is dying. Okay. So I understood her reasoning, but people on the internet, like, even if you don't understand, just respect her decision, period. But now we're bringing it up again because she was at an event recently and she said she was Team Gail over Team Peter when it came to the Hunger Games. Now, context is important. Context matters. And they were basically riffing. But even if she was serious about it, why are y'all going onto this woman's account and harassing her? And when she's trying to promote other authors, because here's the thing, Ali Hazelwood does not need publicity to sell books. This is already going to sell books. And as a person who considers herself content creator media, I get a lot of free books. Ali didn't need any of that with her new book, which I actually have right here. Okay. I legit purchased this when I went on holiday. That's why I was alive last week. Okay. It's a read. It's a good read. She doesn't need to do all of that. She has another book coming out. She has something else coming up, which we'll talk about. But for the cancellation and all the, and her having to leave for her mental health, there's another author we're going to talk about today who did a post also about her mental health. Francesca, why do these people don't have house training?
I don't understand. I really don't know what to even say, because I would never think that whether you agree with her take on Team Gail or Team Peter, first of all, that is so long ago. Who cares? And second, it's her opinion. You can just think, oh, that's a bad take, I don't agree with it, and move on with your life. You don't need to go on her social media and express your opinion about it. You don't. She wasn't even talking about it on social media. It's like something that happened on tour, and you guys brought it onto her social media on a post where she was promoting another author. I just don't understand it. And even with what we're going to talk about after, like with the other author, why does everybody feel like their opinion needs to be vomited onto the comment section of an author's social media? I really just don't understand that. I will never understand that. I've never done that. If you have something nice to say, you can go and say that. But other than that, just keep it to yourself. Or you can share it in your own platform without tagging the author and just talk about it with your group chat. Or if you have an audience, you can talk about it with your audience. And that's it. You don't need to be in something like this with her saying she's Team Gail. That's not even something to even talk about.
It's not something.
Talk about it with your group chat if you have a group chat, if you guys were like really big Hunger Games fans. Because listen, even when I read the Hunger Games, you start out in the first book at bare minimum being Team Gail. We all were there. And then we're like, oh shit.
Listen, here's the thing. We all started out liking him. If you're watching this right now and you read the book,
with yourselves.
If you can't be honest and say, yo, facts in the beginning, we were. It's like going back to, again, the fandom of it all and everything. Again, it's not that serious that you're going to attack a person. Like, listen, we're riffing about it right now. Yeah. You can do that. But to go on the author's page and essentially harass them, again, just driving them up a wall, that part is wild. And I do want to say, our friend, Laura, okay, who's busy at work right now, but Laura said, and I agree, we need to go back to the days of sending author fan mail to the PO box, period. I actually think because of reader behavior, and it's not all readers, okay? I would like to believe people in our community have common sense. The fact that you subscribe and you listen, I'm gonna go on a limb. You get us, you're a reasonable thinking person. You might not have to agree with everything, but reasonable, because I don't want people who agree with me all the time, but you're reasonable. You don't need to go on a person's page directly and attack them. And furthermore, by doing so, we're going to get to a space where authors are going to remove themselves from social media. I remember Sally Rooney getting lots of heat for not being on social, for not doing interviews, and her removing herself, well, not removing, just not putting herself on the internet because she just doesn't want all of that. I actually think, you know what, maybe she saw into the future and she was smart and she's like, listen, I'm not going to put myself out here because people are going to tear me apart because there are people out there who don't like her books, and that is okay. But you need to go on their page, tag them, say crazy things, just do it in the group chat or come over here and we can do it in our chat. You're free to say whatever it is once it's not hurtful and offensive. But you can talk about it. But don't go over there. We're not going to tag her. No.
Yeah. Wild. Just wild behavior.
But continuing the Ali news, I do want to announce some positive news. Okay. Ali Hazelwood is launching soon after the end. This is going to be a dystopian romance collection. There's going to be 8 original stories by different authors, and they're going to be exploring love after the end of the world. So their whole premise, their whole pitch is that, you know what, even in the end, when we get to that point, there is going to be love. So I have included a link in the video's description. It's aftertheendromance.com, because again, we have no idea what it's going to be over there, but in the end, but they're saying we're going to have happily ever afters. This is a collaborative project. And I have to tell you, the thing about Ali Hazelwood, I don't know this woman, but it's just the energy I've been seeing online. She seems to be a very collaborative person. She is successful in her own right, but she's always taking time to promote other authors, other things, and put other people on. And I love a collaborative project. And what she is doing with this is she is working with other authors. There is a link to a Kickstarter that they're doing. And here's some of the stories. We're going to have Bait by Adriana Herrera. First by Ali Hazelwood herself. We're going to have Nina Saxena with a book called Maya. Nikki Payne is writing Skin. Elizabeth Stevens is writing Taken. Claire Kent is writing Brood. Sherry Thomas is doing a book called Prima. And Kate C. Wells is doing Trade. So again, all original stories, all by these authors. You might hear some names that you're familiar with. I was really excited about this collaborative project. Again, Francesca and I talk about this a lot. We miss the days of collabs and communities. I think we're in a culture right now of too much solo and individual, and we like working together and people working together.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. I'm excited for this one. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right, so mark your calendars for that. Click the links and go check out the Kickstarter. Okay, we have more news. We have some Navessa Allen news. So remember, we're talking about the author, right? The author that people are giving a hard time. So in case you're not familiar, Navessa Allen is the author of Lights Out. Lights Out was a pretty big deal last year. Everyone was talking about it. Francesca talked about it. Even I was sold on it. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. I will be honest, I didn't get around to reading it. Okay. But yes, was very excited to hear about it. Now the new book is Caught Up. Francesca has a review of Caught Up. You can find a link in the video's description. But basically, people are upset about it all, saying it did not live up to expectations. And I know, Fran, you have some thoughts. And they were going off on her as well. I'm going to get that screenshot.
On her comments.
I know. What did you think?
Okay, so I can see where people are coming from. And I did talk about that in my review because I don't think this book lives up to the hype of Lights Out. It's a very different kind of book. I think some of that could also be on us, the readers, for expecting something that maybe the series was just not meant to be, which I don't know. But again, like you always say, we support our authors here, even if they have a book that is not as good as we're expecting. So we're still supportive of our authors. We can acknowledge when they don't have their best book. But first of all, to go on any author's comments while they're celebrating their release, so you know that they're actively on social media, and to talk crap about how much you hated their book, that is just horrible behavior. Horrible behavior. It's so entitled. If you have a platform, go and post your review on your platform. If you want to post a review on Amazon, go and do that, or on Goodreads or whatever. But do not go and tag the author or expose your bad opinion to the author. And they just did that recently, a few weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was, when she announced who the narrator was, which, by the way, listen to the audiobook. It's amazing. It's a great audiobook, great narration. Teddy Hamilton, chef's kiss. But she already got so much heat that time. And now people are being just absolutely nasty. And she has to, again, limit her social media, which I'm at this point, I fully support authors to take themselves off of social media because people can't behave.
They Can't Behave. Up on screen is Navessa Allen's last thread, actually. And this is dated May 22nd. And she basically says, FYI, I plan to start limiting access to myself. I'm not backing out of my current commitments, but going forward, I'm taking like 1 or 2 interviews a year. Comments turned off. on certain announcement posts, signings by mail only, 0 engagements in the comment sections on my social media accounts. And this will probably be my last post on here for a long time, which, by the way, she hasn't posted since. And yes, she goes on to say, it's because I've been pushed to this point and I'm choosing my mental health over the entitlement of others. Again, the thread goes on. There's a link in the video's description. You can read it. But essentially, it's all the backlash the author has been receiving. And again, people, you need to have some house training. You can have your feelings. You can feel the way you feel. I'm not invalidating your feelings. That is what your group chat is for. That is what your friends is for. Don't go on social media, because the other thing, I had to think about it too. I know we often say, don't tag the author in like negative reviews and stuff like that. But the way algorithms work nowadays is that you can open your phone and bloop is in your face.
Yeah.
So I understand you have reader space, author space, and stuff like that. I think you can post your reviews, but I think we should refrain from personal attacks.
We should have always refrained from personal attacks, even in a negative review, because you can explain your feelings on why you don't like a book without attacking personally the author or saying that whatever she's trying to do is wrong on a personal level because of XYZ. So you can state facts in your opinion on those facts without getting involved in personal feelings. I've been writing negative reviews since we started the blog for over 14 years. And that is the one thing that I always try to maintain, is that even on a negative review, you have to be respectful.
You do.
You can't be putting personal attacks on people. But again, I think this is going to open up, it will slowly start opening up a conversation of reader spaces and author spaces. And I think what that's going to do is it's going to close in those author spaces to where we're going to have less access to them. And in a weird way, I feel that's going to be a good thing for us.
I'm actually okay with that. I endorse that 100%. Yeah. If you want to see your authors, talk to your authors, stuff like that, I think authors should have DMs turned off, tags turned, comments turned off. I know it sounds cold. You have to protect yourself out here in these streets. So I'm sending positive energy. So both these authors, incidentally, who we're talking about, who have removed themselves from social media. Again, people need some house training, okay? But share your thoughts in the comments about the Navessa Allen book, Lights Out, and your thoughts on Caught Up, but also about her having to remove herself from social media, because again, people have no house training. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Last thing, and it's only going to be a quick mention because, again, time. But we've had plagiarism claims again. This is the last topic. There is a claim that Beverly by Lauren J. Roberts is a complete lift. And in the words of this creator, bar for bar, lift from Obsessed by R.J. Lewis. Now, the content creator up on screen is Lola Oluremi. I have a link in the video's description so you can watch her video because, again, she presents the points, she presents the facts, she downloaded both books. And Beverly is a lift from Obsessed. Fran, another plagiarism claim. What are your thoughts? I also saw one comment, and again, this is gossip, we don't know this for fact, where one person was saying, I wonder if it's the author rebranding themselves, like creating a new pseudonym and republishing and repackaging. But in my mind, the author would announce that on their page. No?
Yeah, I don't know if the author would do that because I don't know either one of the authors, and I don't know if there was any negative connotation to the name for her to be doing that. Because like I feel if you're rebranding, but you're not changing the genre, so it's almost like republishing the same thing, it feels weird. But here's something I have seen, and if that's the case, I feel like the author should just come out and say that. Melissa Foster also has a pen name that not right now it escapes my memory, and she writes spicy romance as Melissa Foster, and then under the other pen name, it's the same story. So like the books are the same, but one is sweet.
Ooh.
So she changes the names and she removes the sex and she changes a couple of things, but it's basically the same thing under a different name. Now, I don't think she's super public with it, but it's known if you are a fan. And right now it escapes my memory. So maybe that could be the case. But if that's the case and this much drama is happening, I feel like the author should say something. But I have a feeling it's more plagiarism.
Yes, I'm leaning towards that. But again, look, if I have information, I am going to present it to you all. And I did see it in the comments. So it had me thinking. Yeah. But yet another plagiarism claim again. We're never going to avoid that.
I know. It's wild. It is wild.
It is. All right. So we are at the end of today's live show. Again, thank you for joining us for Novel Hour. We go live here every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern time. Next week, we're going to be sharing some audio book recommendations. Okay, perfect. Especially if you're hitting the road. Then the following week, we're going to share some Caribbean book recommendations, focusing on Caribbean authors. Then we're going to get into more beach read recommendations. We did our summer reading episode already, so you can check out the summer reading guide, challenges, book recs, and more. And again, just mark your calendar. We have lots of exciting shows coming up. every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern time. So thanks everyone for watching us. Replay crew, we appreciate you as well. So be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.